Welcome to number 2 during your Tuesday. How you doing? I'm Troy Harvey. Got the British group Incognito coming up this hour. Of course, they're going to be featured in our live acts on the back end at 3 this afternoon. Also, we'll dip into some classic Crusaders, too. Catch up with keyboardist Brian Simpson as well. Kick things off back in 2021. This finished as number 2 for the Song of the Year on our top end of the year countdown, featuring Nathan Mitchell on the keyboards. This is Paula Atherton, little summer song. As we kick off hour number 2, your mid-morning jazz brunch.
Please remain standing for the posting of the colors by the Central State University Army ROTC Marauder Battalion.
Forward, mark, left, 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 right, mark, forward, arm, right, forward, mark, left, 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 right,
Thank you. Please be seated. We will now have a musical selection by the Central State University Chorus under the direction of Dr. Carlos Brown. They will perform the Battle of Jericho.
Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. The battle Jericho. The battle Jericho. The battle Joshua. The battle Jericho. The battle Joshua. The battle Joshua. The battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho. The battle Jericho. The battle Jericho. The battle Joshua. The battle Jericho. The battle Joshua. The battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho.
Talk about your kings of Gideon.
Well, you can
talk about your men of Saul.
Oh, yes, you can
but
talk
not
about
like good old Joshua at the battle of Jericho. Joshua the battle of Jericho.
The battle
Jericho.
The battle
Jericho.
The battle Jericho. The battle Joshua. The battle Jericho. The battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle of Jericho.
Right up to the walls of Jericho.
Jericho.
He marched with spear in hand.
Oh, that hard Joshua.
Oh, Joshua cried.
Lord Almighty,
There's a labyrinth she
oh,
begins to
oh,
go,
the
and the
battle,
trumpet begins to
oh,
sound.
the battle,
Joshua commanded the children to shout,
and the walls come tumbling down. Lord, you know that Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. The walls come. Oh Lord, you know that Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho. Joshua fit the battle, yes, the battle of Jericho.
Let's have another round of applause for Dr. Brown, his wonderful choir. I am Dr. F. Eric Brooks, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at Central State University. At this time, I would like to introduce the dais and special guests. As your name is called, please stand and be recognized. To my right, Dr. Jack Thomas, 9th President of Central State University. Mr. Willie Round, keynote speaker, class of 2014. Mr. Mark Hatcher, Chair, Central State Board of Trustees. Ms. Jacqueline Gamblin, Vice Chair, Central State University Board of Trustees. Mr. Christopher Weish, Central State Board of Trustees. Ms. Linda Matthews, Central State Board of Trustees. On my left, Mr. Richard Perry, Central State Board of Trustees. Ms. Natalia S. Harris, Central State Board of Trustees. Ms. Faith Bondurant, Central State University Student Trustee. Mr. Keith Harris Jr., Mr. CSU and Student Trustee. Ms. Daniela Dorset, Miss CSU. Miss Ocean Washington, SGA President. On the back row, to my right, we have Mr. Keith Perkins, Alumni Director and Honoree. Mr. Anthony Gardner, National Alumni Association President. Mr. Philip Ayers, Honoree, Class of 1972. Miss Joyce Eldred Howard, Honoree, Class of 1965. Mr. James Hill III, son of representing James Hill Jr., Class of 64 honoree. Dr. Jennifer Cruz, Chief Marshal. On the back row to my left, we have Mr. Edwin Lloyd, Class of 78 honoree. We have Miss Malva Alexander, Class of 84 honoree. We have Mr. Dwayne Daniel, Class of 86 honoree. We have Miss Pamela Hodge, Class of 90 honoree. We also have Brandon Hayes, Class of 1994 honoree. And we have Miss Angela Davis, Class of 1995 honoree. We'll now have the introduction of our speaker. Okay. Welcome by Keith Harris.
Good morning, faculty, staff, administration, fellow marauders, and centralians. For those who do not know me, I am Keith Harris Jr., the 15th Mr. Central State University, as well as a member of the Board of Trustees, as well as a member of the 9th President's Presidential Roundtable, as well as representing the Honors College here at Central State University. Charter Day Convocation holds tremendous significance because today embarks the day that we were founded. Let's just give a round of applause for 136 years of Black excellence. As we all look around, we come together for a common cause and mutual goal for enhancing Central State University's fight to be the #1 school. After all, the proof is here before us. We have centralians dating back to 1965, all the way up to 1995. And they're all here trying to enhance the way that Central State is perceived. Central State University is not a bad school. Central State University does have great education. Central State University can compete with the best universities around the world. And that's how I feel. Before I conclude, I would like to have a moment of silence for Central State's 6th president, Dr. Emeritus Arthur E. Thomas. Thank you. Dr. Arthur E. Thomas was actually instrumental in the robust convocation series of having speakers come back, international and national speakers who are alum and who are not alum. So that's just a fun fact. Thank you.
We will now have special greetings from the Honorable Aftab Purval, Mayor, City of Cincinnati.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for allowing me to join you today. It's Central State University family. Happy Charter Day and go Marauders. Thank you first and foremost to CSU President, Dr. Jack Thomas. Mr. President, you are at the helm of an exemplary institution. And thank you to the Board of Trustees and to all the faculty, staff, and students who have made CSU such a strong training ground for our nation's future leaders. You all have so much to be proud of, carrying on the tradition of 136 years of academic excellence and continuing to serve as a pillar of innovation and educational opportunity. Now, I'm only a year into my term, so I still feel like the new kid on the block. Let me just tell you a little bit about me, and it may explain why the mayor of Cincinnati is here talking to you today. My story really starts with my parents. I'm the son of a refugee. My mom was born in Tibet and forced to flee her home when the communists took over. So my grandparents and my mom picked Nepal and into India, where she grew up as a refugee. Against all odds, she got an education. She made it to college, where she met my father, who's from India. The young couple got married, and shortly thereafter, they decided to come to the New World. They decided to come to the United States. So my dad looked at a map of our great country, and from sea to shining sea, from New York to California, this crazy man literally could have gone anywhere. And he chose Beaver Creek, Ohio. No idea what he was thinking. But they immigrated here in 1980. I was born a couple years later, grew up in the Dayton area. And then in November 2020, I was elected the 70th mayor of Cincinnati, our city's first Asian mayor and the first Asian mayor in the entire Midwest. And after a year into my term, I've learned a few things. First of all, don't pick a national fight with Travis Kelce and the Kansas City Chiefs. I've really angered. But what I've learned is that Cincinnati faces a lot of the same challenges you all up here in Wilberforce and the challenges that cities across America are facing at the same time. Mayors worry about public safety, police community relations, economic mobility and growth, affordable housing, the climate. And mayors are also asked a lot about our legacy. After your time in office, what do you want to be remembered for? And for me, the answer has always been simple: improving the lives of Black people in Cincinnati. My Black agenda can be summed up with one word, and that is ownership. Black ownership of businesses, Black ownership of homes, and Black ownership of neighborhoods. Now, we've made incredible strides in our first year to accomplish that. But as we all know, we have so much more work to do. And this is where Cincinnati and Wilberforce are different. Cincinnati does not have an HBCU. And that's something have such an institution to help support Black wealth generation and success. And for over 150 years in our nation, HBCUs have educated Black students and prepared them to build a meaningful life. Look at the history of HBCUs in this country. They literally built the Black middle class. It was the HBCUs who created the opportunity for Black people to generate wealth after slavery. And that wealth generation has not stopped. 70% of HBCU students are Pell Grant recipients. HBCUs are still educating first-generation students. And consider this: when that person gets an education at Central State, we are not only educating that person, but also educating that family and that community. The ripple effects are truly transformative. We need more of that in Cincinnati. We need more of that in our country. Every day, HBCU's existence, Central State University, and HBCUs across the country will persist because of beautiful, brilliant, and courageous folks like you. And the truth is, we need you. We need HBCUs. There is not a more effective tool for Black wealth generation and Black achievement than where you're standing now. And so it is my honor to be here to play a small part in celebrating the fact that the next generation of Black academics have access to this extraordinary institution. In one generation, my family went from refugees to now the mayor of Cincinnati. In one generation. Stories like that happen every year at CSU, and it's on all of us to preserve that dream for the next generation. Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Let's give another round of applause to the Mayor of Cincinnati, Mayor Purval. We will now have the introduction of the keynote speaker, and that will be given by Ms. Ocean Washington, SGA President.
Good morning, everyone. I am Ocean Washington, the 2022-2023 SGA President. I won't be up here long. There were some ground rules that were put in place last night, and I don't want the band playing over me, so I'm going to make this quick. An actor, community activist, Emmy award-winning playwright, hip-hop artist, songwriter, and videographer. Born May 20th, 1991, Willie Round III, also known as Prince Rock, grew up in North Lawndale on the west side of Chicago, where he had faced some trials and tribulations. And theater was the key that saved his life. He is dedicated to sharing this life-saving art form with others, using art and theater as a means of expression and authentically illustrating the life of Chicago, often illustrated on the west side. Mr. Round was the first person on either side of his family to go to college and to graduate. He holds a bachelor's degree in communication broadcast media from the Central State University. And that shows that access to strong, consistent, and effective mentorship made this possible. In January 2022, Willie starred in his first short film, an adaptation of his first play, Broke Down Drone. directed by Emmy Award-winning director Marquise Simmons. In December 2022, Mr. Round won an Emmy Award for co-creating and co-producing The Lost Story of Emmett Till, Trial in the Delta for collaboration and NBC. The impact of art partnered with mentorship has been transformative in his life. Mr. Round does extensive outreach in the North Lawndale neighborhood where he grew up and is a mental health professional and behavioral aid. He works to help people find positive and effective coping strategies for depression, addiction, anxiety, and PTSD, among others, and works to help people remove stress and give them a creative and social outlet. He has mentored inner city youth as part of his college mentoring experience, as well as a part of his own youth movement called Mud Life, motivating the urban to be determined. Mr. Willie III, everyone.
Thank you, Ocean. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. Good morning, everybody. How y'all feeling out there? I am so elated to be home right now. This is really home and a full circle moment for my life. Repeat after me. Another day, another opportunity. Another day, another opportunity. Another day, another opportunity. Every day I have to remind myself that it's not a morning go past where I don't tell myself that, to keep my spirits up and keep it high. I got a few thank yous that I want to just do before I get into my address. First of all, I'd like to thank the honorees and Keith Perkins for sending an invite to me to be a part of this. Keith Perkins has been a mentor of mine just through watching his actions, and I thank him for granting me this opportunity and reaching out. The Board of Trustees, thank you. Faculty, staff, thank you. I'd like to send a few shout outs to a few of my old professors in the crowd. Dr. Chinwa, the lovely. Behind her, Professor Gormley, who is my public speaking instructor. So I'll be looking for a grade after this. Professor eBay, I don't see him in the building. I see my first acting instructor back there, John Fleming. Thank you. And Conrad and my long mentor, Miss Amy. So I won't be long before you guys. I just want to start off with a little story just to tell you how I ended up here at Central State. I'll be real brief. So just 9 years ago, in the back of this very auditorium, I was covering this same event. Life moves fast, and I can attest to that. I can attest to that second chances begin here at Central State University. I can attest to that our school creed, change is central, will stay with you long after your time here. In 2008, I attended the Magic City Football Classic, Central State University versus West Virginia, held in my hometown, Chicago, at Soldier Field. I hated football, and college was the furthest from my mind. See, by halftime, Central State was getting crushed, and I was ready to go. But my girlfriend at the time told me she had came for the Battle of the Bands duel, and I was a music guy, so I was up for it as well. West Virginia band took the field, and they were solid. But when those marching marauders took the field, my soul was captivated. Hearing the band playing the instruments and belt out in that soulful hymn, y'all know the one I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, that soulful hymn ignited my soul. The drum majors were stylish and had all of the coolest moves. The tubas were spot on. The drums, horns, and dancing bells were mesmerizing. In that moment, I knew I wanted to go to college. So fast forward into my senior year, I had to transfer schools due to being expelled for a brawl during the ACT test. I transferred to Thomas Kelly High School, where I had the opportunity to enroll in the radio and television program, which inspired me to pursue a college degree in mass communications. Despite having a 1.4 and 11 on my ACT, My senior counselor still encouraged me to fill out 5 college applications, so I did. A few months later, I began to receive mail from those colleges, and unfortunately, they all declined. Surprising, right? With a 1.4 GPA and 11 on the ACT. I wasn't mad though. I was graduating school on time, and I still had a trip to New York planned by my mentor to go to that summer, through that summer after graduating high school. About 1 week later, after receiving those decline letters, I received a letter from Central State University inviting me to participate in their 5-week early start program in order for me to attend Central State University. At first, I was hesitant to, attend this program, as it would mean me missing out on all my summer plans and my trip to New York. When I looked at the date, the exact date was when I was supposed to leave for New York. However, after speaking with my mentor, Reverend Bernard Lilly, I decided to take the opportunity to make something of myself. I made a promise to myself that day, though, that I would still make it to New York, but it would be through my own hard work and effort. The weekend after my high school graduation, I packed up my mother's car, drove to Wilberforce, Ohio, and as soon as I stepped on foot to the campus, I knew I made the right decision. I was filled with a sense of anticipation and excitement for my future, and the rest was history, baby. So during my time here at Central State, I had to come to terms with my own capabilities and strengths, and I had the tendency to doubt myself and my abilities a lot. But eventually, I came to understand that I was capable of achieving my goals with these 3 principles, with these 3 things that I learned. And the lessons that I've learned, these 3 lessons that I've learned have been invaluable to my life, and I'm eager to share them with Central State students and the whole staff and faculty in hopes that it will help students during their college experience here. So number 1, repeat after me: you are enough. We all have purpose in life, and it is important to remember that we are all here for a reason and that you are enough. The process of choosing Central State University is different, I feel, from other universities. Central State has a spirit of its own, and you can feel it on campus, as I said before. Instead of you choosing Central State University, I feel Central State University chooses you. That means your soul and spirit is connected to this university. Central State chooses students and souls that demonstrate commitment to learning and potential for success. Central State University attracts souls who are motivated, passionate, and have a determination to succeed. You are chosen because you have all of these qualities. They are embedded in you. Central State University is a place of second chances, opportunity, and growth, and it is important to remember that you deserve to be here. It is in ordained divine timing that we all are right here sharing space with each other right now. No matter the poverty-stricken community you come from or that was supposed to defeat you, it is important to remember and recognize that you have made it, and you should be very proud of yourself because you are enough. In the busy life of Central and the life of our phones and social media, it can be easy to forget this and leave you feeling uncertain of yourself. However, it is important to remember that you are enough. And I understand that you're probably the first to graduate probably the first to attend college out of your family. I understand that you come from a poverty-stricken community that was supposed to defeat you, like I said, and moving to a rural area can be intimidating for kids that grew up in a big city. But I want to remind you to embrace the idea of change being central, to always remember that you are enough. And lastly, always remember that you are never truly alone unless you abandon yourself. Number 2, embrace being a Centralian. Take advantage of all the opportunities that Central State has to offer, from its diverse programs and its organizations to its incredible student body. Understand that you get the honor to participate in a rich African-American culture, and you also get the opportunity to add on to this culture here at Central State. Make sure to participate in Business Wednesdays, dress code, learn all the school songs, explore the campus. Y'all still go to Crab Baby Bridge around here? You know what I'm saying? Do that. Because doing so will help you become more comfortable around your peers, and it will eventually lead you to becoming a leader and develop lifelong relationships. When I was recording in the back, Daryl T. Owens, who has passed away, right, Mr. Perkins? He's passed away. So rest in peace to him, but he said something that stuck with me 9 years ago and is still with me today. He said that the education that he got here at Central State was great, but the I'm paraphrasing, but the relationships that he gained here are lifelong, lifelong. That resonated with me. So embrace being a Centralian. Believe in yourself and your unique identity, your unique identity. You are special and a wonderful person. Celebrate your individual qualities and always remain humble. Lastly, I believe that finding a mentor has saved my life and my college experience here at Central State University. After completing the Early Start program, I signed up to have a mentor for the upcoming school year. I had the pleasure of having, not as my mentor, he was technically my first mentor, but he was the one that my creative writing teacher, Professor Conrad, he was my creative writing instructor who stopped me every day on the first weeks of school and was like, "You met your mentor yet? You met your mentor yet?" And every time I would tell him, "I'm going to get around to it. I promise you." Never would get around to it. For weeks, he would stop me every day and ask me this until one day he literally took me by the hand, literally. And he marched me over to the president's office where I met the woman who truly saved my life and college experience, Miss Amy Harper, everybody. Miss Amy Harper was an incredible mentor to me, and I'm so grateful to have had her guidance and support. I'm sure without her, I wouldn't have graduated from Central State, nor would I be where I'm at today. I really mean that. The most impactful thing that me and Miss Amy used to do was take hikes and walks at Yellow Springs Forest Preserves. I was a city kid, so I started off complaining all the time. But these walks were a great way for me and Miss Amy to bond and gain insight and a perspective on life from a natural, calming environment. Because of Miss Amy, I have an appreciation for nature. These walks help me cope and get in tune with my spiritual side. I strongly urge you to find a mentor and someone that you can rely on for guidance. It is important to seek out a mentor and always be a mentor to others. Let us all work together to achieve our individual successes and uphold the name of Central State University through mentorship. Seniors, find a freshman to mentor. Juniors, find a sophomore to mentor. Mentorship is a great way for us to all come together and support one another's dream. Had it not been for mentors in my life, I don't finish college. I don't go on to be an actor, teacher. I don't win the Emmy. I lose. Without the guidance and support from those that genuinely wanted to see me win. And to echo Daryl T. Owens, I gained lifelong relationships. It's nothing better than that. So to wrap everything up in conclusion, I want to just send out a call to action and challenge to everybody in the room under the sound of my voice. I challenge everybody under the sound of my voice to chase the greatest version of yourself. In doing this, you only have to do two things. And I won't go into it, but I'll just say them. One, get out of your comfort zone. And two, it's really important, let go of the things that no longer serve you. You see, Central State is where I learned all 5 of these principles and lessons. Because of Central State, I know I am enough. Because of Central State, I know how to conduct myself in an acceptable manner as a Centralian. Because of Central State, I am now a mentor to many and will be a mentor and mentee to the day I die. Because of Central State, I am at peace with discomfort. Because of Central State, I will never, ever stop chasing the greatest version of the person you see right here today. Repeat after me. I am enough. Change is central. For God, for Central, for State. Thank you.
Let's give Mr. Round another round of applause for that inspirational talk this morning. And we will all continue to chase the best version of ourselves. We now have a special presentation for Miss Daniela Dorset, Miss CSU.
Greetings, Central State University. I am Daniela Dorset, your 75th Miss Central State University. I represent not only the Royal Court, but the Honors College, as well as the 9th President's Roundtable. A phoenix in disguise, he surely is, Mr. Willie Round. We want to say thank you for those valuable principles that you laid on us this morning. He noted that you are enough. He said, embrace being not only a marauder, but when you graduate, being a centrillion. Find a mentor because mentorship is important and mentorship gives us a bond. May God continue to bless you for God, for Central, for State. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We will now have another selection. Heaven Bound Soldier, arranged by Glenn L. Jones, Xavier Max Wilson, tenor, Central State Chorus, directed by Dr. Carlos Brown.
Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Let your light shine around the world, around the world. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Let your light shine around the world, around the world. Oh, brother, hold out your light. Oh, my sister, hold out your light. Oh, preacher, deacon, hold out your light. Let your light shine around the world, around the world. Oh, brother, hold out your light. Oh, sister, hold out your light. Oh, preacher, deacon, hold out your light. Let your light shine around the world, around the world. Ooh. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it shine. Because Jesus gave it to me, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, Jesus gave it to me, I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, Jesus gave it to me, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, let it shine. Oh, you must hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Let your light shine around the world, around the world. Let your light shine around the
We'll will now have the 2022 Alumni Achievement Hall of Fame inductions by Mr. Anthony A.G. Gardner, class of 1992.
Good morning. Today we are celebrating 136 years of academic excellence. Good morning. All right, that's more like it. Before I bring up the honorees, I would like to acknowledge some people that are in the audience. Will the alumni please be stand and recognized? If you're alumni of Central State University, please stand and be recognized. Thank you. I have a few announcements before I bring the individuals up to speak. A few housekeeping notes. I gave them some instructions last night at our dinner, but we're missing our stop clock we're supposed to have up here to let them know when their time is up for speaking. So I'll be the timekeeper. For those of you that are out there, alumni that are not involved, please get active with your local chapter in the National Alumni Association. It's very important. Get active, get involved. You can get information on becoming a member of the National Alumni Association and your local chapter by visiting our website, centralstateuniversityalumni.org. That's centralstateuniversityalumni.org. Next announcement, save the date. June 23rd to June 25th is our annual alumni weekend and annual meeting. Marauders in the Chi, Chicago, Illinois. Please plan to be there. Our next announcement is for the students out there. Where the students at? Raise your hand. Where you at? All right. Please be on the lookout in about April for the announcement for our NAA scholarships that we're going to be awarding next year. We have 10 $2,000 scholarships that we'll be awarding for next school year. Please be on the lookout for that. We raise the funds through our normal fundraising activities. We also got donations from the class of 1962, the spring 1997 line of Delta Sigma Theta Incorporated, Mirage line, and our very own Congresswoman Joyce Beatty, who also, through her nonprofit organization, Fire and Focus, Beacon and Light Scholarship Fund, we will also be adding 2 additional 5,000 scholarships to 1 male and 1 female student for the next school year. All right, now we get to the good part, the honorees. You have the bios in front of you, so I will not stand up here and read the bios and take time from them. We're gonna let them come up here and speak for themselves. So with that being said, from the class of 1964, inducted posthumously, Mr. James Hill Jr., and speaking on behalf of the Hill family is his son, Mr. James Hill III.
Good morning, all. Honor to God, who is the head of all our lives, and a special thanks to Dr. Jack Thomas, Keith Perkins, leadership, trustees, fellow honorees. We're all blessed to be here. We appreciate the opportunity. I just want to spend a few moments to explain who my father was to Central State University. His name is James Hill Jr., and I'm here to speak on behalf of my father and the family. He had passed away recently, about a year and a half ago. He was a skinny kid from Baltimore, Maryland, and he didn't really go to college when he first graduated from high school. He kind of stayed around the east side of Baltimore where he grew up, tough place. And my grandfather said, boy, you need to either go to the military, get a job, or go to college. So after a lot of research, he found Central State, determined that he wanted to come here and major in accounting. That's what he did. Didn't have much. My grandfather only had enough money to send him to college for 1 year. He kind of hustled and struggled all the way through. But this is where he found his voice. This is where he found his vocation. This is where he found his friendships. This is where he found his brotherhood. He pledged Kappa Alpha Psi here at Central State. A lot of great relationships came out of this university. He was a self-starter. You can read about him, obviously, in the program. But if you want to get more in depth about who he was as a man, you can go to historymakers.com. They have full videos and everything else if you want to learn about him as an individual. You can read for yourself. He is a guy who graduated from Central State, wanted graduate school badly. He wanted to get his MBA, went to University of Chicago, which produced a lot of world economists, didn't know calculus. And he had to teach himself calculus while learning economics at the same time. These are the type of things that he was willing to do to be successful. He was amongst the first generation of Black fill in the blank. For those who came out of the civil rights era and had some opportunities in the early 70s, he was that guy. He had his own accounting firm, did really well with that. And obviously, the biggest thing beside his financial gains, which he did really well in life, is that he loved his friendships and relationships. I want to make a special thanks to a man who's here today who was his schoolmate, also a 2014 Alumni Achievement Awardee. He is the person that nominated my father for this award. He is my father's line brother from Delta Zeta here, Harvard Business School, and he also has his own accounting firm, and my godfather, Tyrone Dickerson. It's important to name names. My father loved Central State, and every now and then he get an opportunity to meet someone young. So about 5 years ago, with my own accounting practice, I hire summer interns. This young man found me and he sent me an email and said, "Mr. Hill, I would love to intern with you." And I gave him an interview and I hired him on the spot from Central State. His name was Joseph Lancaster. And Joseph was an accounting major, very aggressive, wanted to be successful. I loved his energy, didn't need a second interview, and he was the best summer intern I've ever had. My father wanted to meet him. So it was like, let's go out to lunch. So my father said, no, not just any restaurant. He wanted to take Joseph to the Standard Club in Chicago. So those from Chicago know what the Standard Club is. And that was one of the highlights of my father's life, to see me play it forward, because I didn't go to Central State. I went to North Carolina A&T. Play it forward to someone from Central State and see how successful Joseph was. Right now, he is a commercial loan officer at BMO Bank in Chicago. He's very successful. And I just want to let you all know who are students to take advantage of all these opportunities and be aggressive, because it is here for you. And I'm just proud to be here to accept this award on my father's behalf. And congratulations to all the rest of the nominees.
Our next honoree from the class of 1965, Miss Joyce Eldred Howard.
Good morning, everyone. I am honored to be here this morning. And I would like to give honor again to Dr. Jack Thomas, president of this historic university, along with the Central State University administrative team and the Board of Trustees. Thank you for all that you've done for all of us, and especially for me. I would also like to congratulate our fellow honorees here sitting on this stage. Congratulations. Just like Mr. Willie Round said it perfectly, everyone has a purpose. And once that purpose is realized, you have to work at it. You have to perfect it. And success will follow. Now, my purpose became very clear during my senior year while here at Central State University, which was many, many years ago, but it has never been forgotten, and I never stopped working on it. My 40 years as an educator at all levels, also 10 additional years as an educational consultant, and now I'm a community activist. I think that was attributed to my parents, but also I would like to acknowledge 3 outstanding Central State University professors when I was here that stand out in my mind. They've always stood out in my mind. And they were Dr. Clara Henderson, the former department head of elementary education, Dr. Hargrave, the dean of education, and Dr. Lane, the dean of the psychology department. They were outstanding. They all exhibited such high expectations and strength in their own ways. And I think that because of them being here, being with my parents, my family, it made a difference in my life. When I came here, I was sort of ready, but when I left, I was really ready, and I never stopped. From the time I left here in 1965 until today, I'm still working at it. I would like to also extend a special thank you to my friends who were in the class of '65, and warm greetings to my family, my sister Janice, and my son Michael, and most especially my mother and father, who are no longer with me. They would be so proud if they could be here, but I know in spirit they are here. I would also like to give a special thank you to Dr. Betty Sanders, who nominated me for this prestigious award. I would like to close with a quote by Lori Favors. I don't know if you've heard of her. She's an attorney and a radio host. She said it perfectly, and I quote, "We are put here for a purpose. If you don't know who you are, we are disconnected from where we came from. Remembering who we are, you must have a sense of self. You must recognize it and take your place in the circle of life. For God, for Central, for State." Thank you.
All righty. Our next honoree from the class of 1972, Mr. Philip D. Ayers.
Good morning, CSU. I want to start off by saying To God be the glory for what he has done for me. I'm truly honored and humbled to be here on this dais this morning with so many highly accomplished and successful graduates of Central State University. To be recognized by your peers and inducted into the National Alumni Achievement Hall of Fame is truly an accomplishment that I would have never imagined when I set foot on Central State's campus in 1968. God has allowed me to have a testimony to share with you today. I say that because 50 years ago, after obtaining my second degree here at Central, I was prepared to march with the class of 1973. However, having received my first degree in elementary education in 1972, I was not allowed to march with the class of 73. I was supposed to march today at age 73, 50 years later. That was God's plan for me, as stated in Jeremiah 29:11, my favorite Bible verse. That was for God. Next, for Central. I'm gonna state before I knew our beloved university, Central State had a major impact in my life. I say that because I was held back in the second grade, not because I wasn't bright enough to pass, but because I wasn't light enough to pass. But God sent me an angel, a Central State graduate, Miss Velma Elmore, who tutored me. She was an elementary education teacher, and she let me know that no matter what, I was smart and I could do anything I wanted to do. That impacted my life for the rest of my life, and she was telling the truth. My high school counselor also told me that I wasn't college material, but I stand before you today with 3 degrees. I've got 3 RVs, 30 cars, and had 2 houses built. So I was college material. Don't let anybody tell you what you can't do, ever, because you can do anything when you graduate from Central State. While I was at Central, I was honored to become a member of the National Honorary Society of Persian Rifles. Also in 1970, I became a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. These 2 affiliations allowed me to do an awful lot with the education that I had from Central. I was able to change the world in my small way because of the mentoring program that I developed in 1993. The 12 Good Men Elite Club was recognized nationally for mentoring over 500 African-American males. In conclusion, Central State has been a second family. Here's where I met some of my closest and lifelong friends, and I also met my loving wife, Charlotte, while I was here at Central. Thank you, baby, for your support of 46 years. I've always been an active and paid member of the DC chapter of Alumni Association, and I'm a life member of the National Alumni Association. Please make membership in an Alumni Association part of your priorities when you graduate from Central. Always remember to give back to the school that gave to you. Remember, it's not about me. It's not about you. It's about what we can do for CSU. For God, for Central State. Thank you.
All right, moving along. Our next honoree from the class of 1978 in the immediate past president of the National Alumni Association, Mr. Edwin H. Lloyd.
Brother Ayers, I have my own speech, sir. Thank you very much. Good morning, Central State University. Thank you for your presence today. It is a good day in the land, and I am happy to be alive. President Gardner, Alumni Director Perkins, and the Achievement Hall of Fame Selection Committee, again, I thank you for the final selection of me to be a recipient of this auspicious recognition. To my fellow inductees, congratulations. I am indeed in and among an august group. Thank you, Dr. Jane Carlton, my colleague and friend and classmate who is not here today. You know, work has a way of getting into you doing things and living. And I want to thank her for thinking enough of me for the nomination. I also want to thank my sister Rona, who came down from Chicago to be present. My daughter Christina Lloyd, a doctoral candidate at Kent State University. Thank you for being here with me. Your brother dumped me to be in Brazil today. And to my wife of 41 years almost, for your continued support, even when I drive you bongos with all the things that I'm involved in. Thank you for your love and your support, Regina. On June 10th of 1978, I stood in this very space and gave my class speech as a senior class president. Keith, I have a copy, and since I'm allotted 10 minutes, I'll read it. But let me be serious for a minute and note a couple of things. When I attended Central State University, President Dr. Lionel H. Newsom, the venerable Dr. Newsom, was my mentor, Brother Grounds, and a stalwart of a leader. I mentioned last night that he walked the campus and knew students personally. I had the honor of observing him as a leader. And under his leadership, I learned how to be a leader. I learned by the example of the giant Dr. Lionel Newsom. Also had another good leader that I learned a lot from, Dr. Cynthia Jackson Hammond, the former president of Central State University. You all know who she is. Dr. Newsom was a man of integrity. He valued Central State University and fought for this university after the tornado destroyed most of the school. And I was here when the tornado hit Central. But with the students, faculty, administration, and the love that Dr. Newsom had for Central State University, it is still here today. The class, the tornado class, right, RB? We worked together. In fact, the naming of this building, I worked with Dr. Newsom to name this building. We did things like that. Central State University today needs honest, effective, and sound leadership. It is imperative that CSU continues to recruit teachers who are dedicated, and they are resolute teachers here. Make no mistakes about that. We need students who are interested in learning, and we have good, strong students. Cairo, my godson, I think I see you in the audience. Stand up. He called me and was bragging on his interim report card. All A's and 1B, I think he said. I haven't seen it yet, so we're going to verify that. His father, who was my barber years ago,
Stand up, Casey. I never told Casey to come to Central, but to visit. Not only did he come, brothers, but he pledged Alpha. My barber, I think he was a teenager when we met. We need students who are interested in learning. We need commitment. We need folks who love Central State University like I do, and you all do. Folks, we must fight for what we love. We must continue to support CSU with our time, our talent, and our treasures, despite the challenges. Let us not get weary in our well-doing. Let us always remember that Central State will be here when others leave. Amen. But we'll be here. Central will be here. I see my front brother, Chris Saunders, and all these other folks. I called him last night or yesterday and told him to come up. Brother Black, I recognized you earlier, so I don't have to do it again. So our resolve, as I take my seat, Keith, will always be for God, for Central, for State.
Our next honoree, I'm not sure if he even needed an introduction. He's pulling a double duty today. From the class of 1982, our Director of Alumni Relations, Mr. Keith Aaron Perkins.
Well, good morning. I've been an AME for 63 years, and it's hard to follow an AME minister. I'm gonna try my best. First of all, I'd like to recognize the dais, especially the honorees, my fellow honorees. I'd like to recognize my lovely wife of almost 4 decades, Lisa Renee Perkins. My eldest son, Aaron Maurice Perkins, who thought that his daddy didn't know his child. He said, "Father, I'm working. I will not be able to get away." And I let him off the hook because I do understand the importance of having a good work ethic. But if he thought I didn't know that he was coming, he don't know his daddy. Aaron, please stand. And my youngest son, just so happens to be a 2014 Central State graduate, Malik Keith Perkins, please stand. Communications major with Mr. Round. You know, I don't have a prepared speech, and I think that my bio speaks for itself. Over 42 years trying to make our world better. Trying to make our world better. And I realized that there is a common denominator to what I have been doing for over 42 years. You know what that is? All of you. My dear friends and associates, because no man, no woman can do anything by themselves. And I've had the privilege and the honor to always have people to work with and who had my back. Even the haters motivate you. You need haters, Dr. Chenwal. You need people that's going to motivate you. So thank the haters too. There's none in this room, but they're out there. We all have them. They're out there, so we have to appreciate them too. I bleed maroon and gold. Everybody knows that and knows me. I just love Central State University for 45 years. And I have a dear classmate and one of my best friends who came all the way from Gainesville, Joe Kelly Lipsey. Please rise. You notice how I love middle names. I call you old, not yours, Cootie, because I can't quite get all that. But Joe is a past SGA president. I shared that with President Washington last evening. Joe and I, believe it or not, we were major student leaders on this campus back in our day. We took care of business for the benefit of the students. And that's what it's all about. It's your day. It's not our day as honorees. I always say that the university is no stronger than its alumni. And Willie Round, if he is not a living proof of what Central State can do, brought tears to my eyes. It had to be because of his tenacity and understanding that you got to always be the best that you can be, and no one can help you do that better than yourself. So as I take my seat, I appreciate everyone in this room. I have some dear colleagues. I have my Institute Division colleagues. I have my dear college, my favorite dean. All the deans are my favorite, but I start with Chaz because that's the college I graduated out of. And Dean Hobbs, the other dean, she gets a couple more dollars more than y'all get on an annual basis. I still contribute to all, but she gets a little bit more because I appreciate Wesley Hall immensely. And I appreciate every last one of you. Thank you so much for God, for Central, for State.
Since we're giving out shout outs, where's the Dean of College of Business at? Dr. Akins, where you at? That's my college. That's my favorite dean right there. Class of 1992, I'm an accounting major. All right, our next honoree from the class of 1984, Miss Malva Alexander.
Good morning, Central State University. Okay, so I have to say, first of all, that the devil tried to steal my joy this morning, but as God would have it, he couldn't do it. My mother took a fall as we were getting ready to come over here to the auditorium, and I just want to say that the devil couldn't stop her. And I thank you, Mom, for being here. So back to my original speech that I created. I am so very happy and proud to be nominated and inducted into the esteemed Central State University Hall of Fame of Achievement. It is with great pleasure that I accept this award. This is a very happy moment for me, and because of this morning, it means even more to me. As you see the tears roll down my face, I'm trying not to, but I am a little overwhelmed and very happy. So now I need to say, if you read my bio that's provided in the program, you will see that I was the first female in the Industrial Technology Department. But as life events took place, I would not be the first to graduate in that discipline. First in, but not the first out. And I want to make that perfectly clear and transparent. So back in the day, the tech department was split into two. There was the industrial technology side, which focused on manufacturing, IT, and the such. And then there was the industrial arts side, which focused on teaching and trades. So I would be remiss if I did not mention the first female on the industrial arts side, my co-pioneer, Miss Galen Harris of Gary, Indiana. Hopefully she's watching. So my thanks goes first and foremost to my Lord and Savior. Gotta thank him, Jesus Christ. And then there's Dr. Brian Crawford for being the catalyst of the technology/engineering program. Mr. Stewart, who you all know now as Dr. Stewart, Dr. Grissom, Mr. Sasson, and Mr. Zabo, and even Mr. Favors. Thank you to the young, gentlemen that looked out for me and directed me as I walked the halls of Jenkins Technology Building. The Kevin Penns, the Kevin Hills, the Pope brothers, and the Major Ron Crowder. You are all loved and appreciated. I'd like to thank my brother from another mother who set the record straight for me at all times, never allowing me to defer or get away from what was real. Mr. Mark Jonigan, he couldn't be here today. I'd like to thank my tribes, the Alexanders and the Cochrans. And then last but certainly not least, I give great honor and thanks to the woman that raised me, the educator, she's a retired school teacher, the parent that had rules and would let you know, I am not your friend, and you better not what, her, or ain't me in a conversation, who has become my bestest friend, but still my mama, who was very active in the CSU Mothers Club. Please give a hand clap for my mother, Miss Catherine Alexander. Thank you. Lastly, and simply said, to the current students, family, and friends of CSU, there are a few personality and behavior traits which you should keep and continue to hone in your arsenal of armor. Resilience, but not so resilient that you become rigid. You have to have just a tiny bit of vulnerability. Excuse me. And then there's fortitude. And lastly, faith. If you subscribe to these traits, the folks will treat you like you and treat people like you want to be treated. There will be nothing you can't accomplish or overcome. Because if you sustain and make it at CSU, guess what? You can make it anywhere and through anything. And when and if others try to dim your light, young people, simply stand tall and directly state, if my shine is too bright for you, sorry, but not sorry. Get you some shades because my shine is only going to become brighter. Be safe. I thank you and I love you for God, for Central, for State.
Yes, indeed. We had a scary moment this morning when Miss Alexander fell. We sprung into action. Everybody grabbing doors, grabbing her. Our second VP, Tracy Bell Thomas, went upstairs to call 911. And when she got back and she said, the ambulance is on the way, Miss Alexander said, ambulance? I don't need no ambulance. Ain't none of my bones broken. So we knew she was ready to come in here. So give her a round of applause. Our next honoree from the class of 1986, Mr. Dwayne Daniel.
Good morning, everyone. This is a beautiful day, and I am so honored to be here. Board of Trustees, President Thomas, administrators, faculty, and know how much work you do. I know of your concern and your care for the students. Okay? I see it. I see it all the time. I'm a part of it. CSU Alumni Chapter, thank you for recognizing the nomination for my acceptance, which I have to also thank Professor Aaron Smith Glenn, a former student, now colleague, who snuck and did everything. I had no idea. I had no idea. Okay. So in January after Christmas, okay, I wasn't prepared for this, but it's beautiful. It is a wonderful tribute. Now, Central State has been a tremendous part of my life, part of my development. Okay. Sometimes we may not be aware of the fact, and right now I think it's still a fact. 18% African American boys are not ready for kindergarten, compared to over 50% white females, to 40-something% white males, a little over 30% black females. And so you know the number drops severely by the time it's time for college. Central State puts a huge dent in that. Now, I won't go too deep into it, but I had some incidents in my early childhood in the South. I'm not going to go deep into it today. Some of you heard that story unfold last night, but the bottom line is my percentage dropped below that 18%. And I was kind of shocked into reality. Okay? It was a balance of a stern hand and tremendous love that changed my trajectory. And as a result of that, by the time I was it was time for me to go to high school, I'd learned to balance my temper. I'd learned to make sure that I paused before I spoke. I've learned to measure myself. Okay? Those are the things that have allowed me to not only survive, but to thrive. Coming out of Dayton Dunbar, I had some scholarship opportunities. And I had an opportunity. I knew that I was always interested in the visual arts. I declared that I was going to be a visual artist. I think when I was 6 years old, I didn't know what they did, really. And I also did not know at that particular time that that was not that was not considered to be a wise decision for a large black boy who was going to turn into a large black man. That was not something that was encouraged. But there was a gentleman right at the time that I was ready to make some decision, stepped onto the scene. I don't remember the exact day or the exact time, but I remember the encouragement to come to Central State because the visual arts program was strengthening. It was being revised. Okay. And that gentleman, Willis Bean Davis, is here right now. Okay. Speaking of mentors and the power of mentors, he served as he was like the point guard for the visual arts program as it was developing. And speaking of our late Dr. Arthur Thomas, from what I can understand, he was here because of Dr. Art Thomas. Their efforts to revitalize the visual art program. Okay. And what I have to say to that, to you, sir, is that it is now revitalized. Yes. Okay. A little bit about my stay on campus. And when I came to Central State on campus, okay, one of the things that I remember coming into this room as a freshman, every Tuesday, we had convocation. It was mandatory. We had to come in here and get our tickets stamped. Okay? And coming in here, had the opportunity to witness presentations from Wilma Rudolph, track Olympian, okay, to hear her story. Maya Angelou, okay, Muhammad Ali. We had people come to this campus on a very regular basis that allowed us to have inspiration when we went to the classroom. And those were some of the things that really helped to inspire me and allowed me to be able to respond to some of the things that an individuals like, as they were building the program, Mr. Leroy Porter, who had the very first graphic design program on this campus, which I happen to be a part of. Standards. You thought you pledged something? Pledged graphic design with Mr. Porter. Okay. Mr. Abner Cope, heart and soul of the program. Okay. And Mr. Willis Bean Davis, bringing in professionals all over the country and making you aware of what was possible. Okay. This was Central State University giving African Americans an opportunity to grow a very large amount in a relatively short span of time. The trajectory was tremendous. Okay? And so I am very appreciative and value Central State University. And coming out of Central State University, and I won't stay here too long. I know they're threatening me with the rope, whatever they got back there. Okay. But one of the things, that led me to move forward and have some opportunities that I had no idea existed. Okay. I got a chance to go to graduate school. Okay, and become one of, at that particular time, I think 7 or 8 African Americans with an MFA in graphic design at that time. I had an opportunity from here, to go to Phillips Academy, oldest, wealthiest one of the oldest, wealthiest college prep schools in the country. I'm receiving Outstanding Teachers of the Year award. Okay? Humble beginnings coming from here. I am just so humbled and honored. And it's not possible without the love and support of family, mother, father, who's now late, okay? And also my immediate family. My brothers and sisters drove me constantly. Daryl, Charlotte, and Greg, back and forth whenever I needed it. Okay? And this has been constant. So I stand on the shoulders of lots of people talking about mentorships. Okay? I can't begin to name all of them. But one of the things that I do know, and I say this to the students, okay, it's not only the responsibility of the mentors to work with people, which I think there are plenty of mentors, but I think the most sound relationship is when the student chooses a mentor. Because when that student chooses a mentor, they are ready. And it's important to respond. It's important to respond. And faculty, okay, keep responding to the students. Thank you. I will close. One thing, I have to acknowledge my family that is here. My lovely wife, Diana, please stand. Okay. I look out, I see, yes. Thank you.
Yeah, big fellas are really testing us today, wasn't he? Come on, we family. We can laugh. We family, right? Come on. Who I was back there like, okay, Mr. Gaines, start that award show music. Speech going too long, but give him a round of applause anyway, everybody. All right, our next honoree, they had to call themselves the Ebony class, from the class of 1990, Miss Pamela M. Hodge.
Good morning, blessings. It is an honor, truly, to stand here. It's a bittersweet moment. My president passed, my band director passed, but thank God he aligned the nomination committee, the nominators, and everyone to give me this opportunity to stand before you in a place that was reverenced when we were here. In honor, not only giving honor to my Heavenly Father, but there are a couple people here that I do need to acknowledge. My sisters who have been with me for 40 years, Shirley Jackson and Joyce Tubbs. And since I'm from Connecticut and my family could not be here, my mother hopefully was able to figure out the stream to watch. I have to honor the Scott family who took me in. I have Robert and Randy here. Hopefully Pop is able to watch and Rick at home. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I came down right after the tornadoes. There was no place for me to go. The hotels were holding their rooms for residents that didn't have any place to go. And Robert opened up his door for me. He took care of me for 2 months until I was able to find my own place, and I will always appreciate you for that. I love you dearly. Thank you. Last night, we each had an opportunity to speak, and we were asked why and what Central State means to us. Today, I want to talk more to the students about how we got to that point. When you attend in Central State or any university, it means that there are accountabilities and responsibilities that we have to adhere to. You don't just come in here and do what you want, how you want. Whatever you did at home, you leave that there. There are classes to get to on time, completed assignments to turn in. There are expectations of communicating with each other and older adults with the same respect that you expect to be spoken with. You don't just talk to them any kind of way, whether you agree with what they're saying or not. You speak to one another with love and respect because we're family. Family deals with each other with love and respect. I need you to remember that. You'll learn to get along with others despite differences and disagreements. For those of you with roommates, these experiences will prepare you for the work environment and life after college. Having housing difficulties? Good. You'll need to learn how to work out payments and address miscommunications when regarding your future apartment or house, insurance, or utilities. Having difficulties with an instructor? Good. You'll need to learn how to compromise and accept decisions you don't agree with when interacting with supervisors. Your dorm room isn't up to the standards you think it should be? Good. You'll need to learn how to effectively address landlords, city inspectors, and insurance agents. Central State is forging ground. It's preparing you for life. This isn't just a resort. This isn't just high school part 2. Once you enter the workforce, there'll be very few people who are interested in your success. Value your time here at Central, where people are invested in your future. Everyone you see down here in the front, everyone you see back here are invested in your future. This is your training ground. This is where you make mistakes and learn and grow from them. This is where you obtain your fortification, where you learn to stand on your own 2 feet and make your own decisions and deal with their consequences. You'll find in this life that no one other than yourself owes you anything, so learn to appreciate everything and always do your best. I would like to share a poem with you that I was introduced to here at Central State in this very auditorium by my president, Dr. Arthur E. Thomas. It's called Don't Quit by Edgar Guest. When things go wrong, as they sometimes will, when the road you're trudging seems all uphill, when the funds are low and the debts are high, and you want to smile, but you have to sigh. When care is pressing you down a bit, rest if you must, but don't you quit. Life is queer with its twists and turns, as every one of us sometimes learns, and many a failure turns about when he might have won had he stuck it out. Don't give up though the pace seems slow, you might succeed with another blow. Often the struggler has given up when he might have captured the victor's cup. And he learned too late when the night slipped down how close he was to the golden crown. Success is failure turned inside out, the silver tint of clouds of doubt. And you never can tell how close you are It may be near when it seems afar. So stick to the fight when your heart is hit. It's when things seem worse that you mustn't quit. You're being trained now to stand on your own and make good decisions. Take your time here at Central seriously. It's a privilege to attend an HBCU. Become experts in your field of study because knowledge is truly power. Enjoy being you and discovering who you want to be. Encourage each other and push them to be their best self just as you're trying to be. One day after you've graduated and returned for visits, you'll learn that you have become who you needed while you were here, and you'll know what you need to do to give back to future students. Stay the course, finish the race, and don't quit. For God, for Central, for state, for life.
Don't quit. Remember that, students. Don't quit. So a lot of people up here was reciting that poem as Pam was reciting it. I'm not sure we learned that in the right environment. I'll just leave it at that, right? Right, Chris? All right. Our next honoree from the class of 1994, Mr. Brandon Hayes.
Good morning, CSU. I remember sitting in those seats in 1991 at Convocation. What time does the calf open? I'll be brief. I was recruited to Central State on a football scholarship from Muncie, Indiana. And while I was listening to our keynote speaker, I kind of got upset when he said Central State got crushed. That crushed me. My tenure here at Central State, I lost 5 games in my career and won a national championship. We were the ones doing the crushing. And as I came back last year, I see our football team improving. I hope you go out and support them, give them everything they need. I see a lot of big brothers walking on campus that's not on that team. You need to get on that field. We need you. But my time at Central State, like we was talking about last night, I came to Central State as a boy and left as a man. Learned how to be a leader. Central State has helped me in so many ways imaginable that I would have never, ever guessed. It helped propel me to get to the NFL. And I'm just not a jock. I have 2 degrees from Central State University, one in history and a master's in education. So we were doing it on and off the field. But the lessons I learned here carry me through my life. I was coached by the legendary Billy Joe, and everything that he kind of taught us about football, he could relate it to life. And I find myself doing that to this day. So I came up here with my plays scripted, had a game plan, and Mr. Keynote Speaker just threw me off. So I just had to get that off my chest. So I'm overwhelmed with gratitude being selected for this honor. I never really saw it coming, and I appreciate it. I want to give a special thank you to Sawatu Waniki for being here with me on this occasion. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to have my work and the work of my nonprofit, 3rd and 11 Inc. We're trying to create a pipeline straight here to Central State University from Muncie, Indiana. We do our HBCU tours. I bring groups of kids up. And our mantra is see it, believe it, achieve it. So I want them to come and see the family that's here at Central State University. Then I want them to believe they can come here at Central State University. And then I want them to know they can achieve it by getting a degree from Central State University. So a lot of hours, a lot of planning goes into making these trips happen. But I'm just glad that with all the things we do, it's for a greater good. And I appreciate all you for being here. I promised I would be brief because I want to go eat in the calf too. For God, for Central, for State.
All right, we're down to our last honoree, and certainly not least, right? That's right. It's about to close the show. From the class of 1995, Miss Angela Davis.
I'm so glad I went to CSU. I'm so glad I went to CSU. Singing glory, hallelujah. I went to CSU. But I have to be honest. When I first heard that song in the fall of 1991, when I came onto this campus, I was excited, I was nervous, but I was a little confused, Pastor, because I'm like, are we really allowed to take a church song and flip it like that? And what does glory, hallelujah have to do with being on a college campus? But I quickly learned that this wasn't just a college campus. This is Central State University. I'm going to say it again. This is Central State University. And it was here in this auditorium when I would hear my president, the late, great Dr. Arthur Edward Thomas, look at us on multiple occasions, Tracy, and he would tell us in his own little swagged out way, you are the most magnificent young people on the face of this earth. Not only would he say it, but he meant it. He believed it. And he wanted us to believe it too. Because this isn't any campus. This is Central State University, where our library is named after my soror of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, Hallie Quinn Brown, who was a prolific speaker and fought for the rights of women and for women to be respected. On this campus, Central State University, where this very auditorium is named after the athlete, the actor, and the activist, the great Paul Robeson, who taught us that our gifts will make room for us and our gifts can take us anywhere in the world. This campus, not just any campus, but Central State University, where we have a dormitory named after Miss Suni Green, a woman who worked for 30 years as a house mother, because that's what they used to call them. A house mother for over 30 years. Because here, it's not just about what you learn. Because we can learn math and science, we can get that anywhere. But when we have house mothers like Miss Suni Green, it's not just about what you learn, but how you are loved and nurtured and prepared for the world that may not be so kind to you. Because this is not just any campus. This is Central State University, where our founding president, the great Dr. Charles Wesley, was angered because the history books were not reflective of our achievements. But he used his anger to be activated and went on to write over 15 books chronologizing the African American experience on this campus of Central State University. So I stand here today and I am thankful to the National Alumni Association for inducting me into the Hall of Fame. But more importantly, I stand here and I challenge my fellow alums, because it's great that we are doing things in education and in business. But what good is it if we reach great heights, but we forget to reach back? We must pull as we climb. And I get it. Life happens. We don't always have time. But when you don't have time, give money. When you don't have money, give your time. And when you don't have either, use your resources, your influence, anything that you have to have an impact on our university. You can look at my bio. I give much because I owe much. And I'm grateful to have a husband who is also an HBCU alum who understands my passion. Yes, or Alana, I met my husband at a campus party, yeah. But I give much because I owe much. So that song that I heard over 30 years ago that resonated with me then, it still resonates with me now. I'm so glad I went to CSU. I'm so glad I went to CSU. Glory, hallelujah. I went to CSU for God, for Central, for State. Thank you.
At this time, can I have the 10 honorees please stand? 10 honorees. Let's give them a round of applause. Come on now, come on. We got 10 individuals up here. You may be seated. And that concludes a portion of the honorees being inducted. And as always, important for God, for Central, for State.
We'll now have a selection by the Roberson Chamberwinds, Mr. Blake Gaines conducting Around Midnight, arranged by Sammy Nikisko, and music by Cootie Williams and Thelonious Monk. Thank you, Robeson Chamber Winds. We now have remarks by Board of Trustees Chairman Mark Hatcher, Esquire.
Good afternoon, everyone. I bring you greetings on behalf of the Central State University Board of Trustees. I pass along congratulations to all of our esteemed honorees. Congratulations to you all. And I had no idea that Keith Perkins was not already in this honorary group. It is an honor for me to be on the stage when Keith was inducted into the Hall of Fame. So let's give all of our honorees a round of applause. I also want to thank Mr. Round for his inspirational challenge for us to be the best versions of ourselves. His words, his presence here today reminded me of why we do the work that we do here at Central State. So let's give him a round of applause as well. His speech and his presence here today reminds me of what I believe is one of the strongest qualities of this institution, and its esteemed administration, faculty, staff, students, and alumni. And that word is resilience. Ms. Alexander called that word out during her remarks here this afternoon, this morning. And resilience is the capacity to withstand or recover quickly from difficulties. We are in a state of mourning here at Central State University over the passing of our sixth president, Dr. Arthur E. Thomas. And I had the honor of meeting him a few years before COVID. And I remember that meeting very clearly because when I met him, the first thing I said to him is that, Dr. Thomas, it's an honor to meet you. And, I'm honored to be in this position at Central State, but I'm not a Centralian. And he said to me, son, nobody's perfect. He said, but do you love Black people? I said, I do. He said, do you believe our children, our students here at Central State are capable of doing anything they put their minds to? I said, yes, sir, I do. He said, well, you're going to be all right. So, but it is in that spirit of Dr. Thomas that I took some time to go back and revisit some of his great speeches and some of his writings. And he gave a speech to the Akron Urban League youth group where he spoke about the fact that we currently use only 15% of our brain capacity. And he challenged that group to make up for that and be 85% better. And that reminds me of a saying that I read about the oak tree and the willow tree. And the saying goes that the oak tree fought the wind and it was broken, but the willow tree bent when it must and it survived. That to me is the legacy of Central State University. It's resilience. Our honorees are representations of that resilience and excellence, as well as Mr. Round. They are manifestations of that 85%. In the coming weeks, we will honor Dr. Arthur E. Thomas's life and legacy. And the greatest way that we can do that is to collectively strive to all be 85% better for Central State University. Happy Charter Day for God, for Central, for State. Thank you.
We'll now have presidential remarks by the ninth president of Central State University, Dr. Jack Thomas.
Thank you and good afternoon. Good afternoon. Will the wonderful students of Central State University who haven't gone to the CAF please stand to be recognized? These are the finest. Thank you. You may be seated. Will all of our alumni please stand? Our Centralians, please stand to be recognized. You may be seated. Will all of our staff please stand to be recognized. You may be seated. It's great to see so many members of the Central State University family here to celebrate 136 years of academic excellence. Charter Day is one of my favorite traditions because it provides an opportunity to cherish our rich history, celebrate our accomplished alumni, and look towards our bright future. For 136 years, Central State University has been a pillar of excellence in Ohio and beyond, which are illustrated in our core values: academic excellence, servant leadership, community engagement and outreach, diversity and inclusion, and civility and mutual respect. For 136 years, Central State University has been educating bright, dedicated scholars and leaders, some of whom were just inducted into our Alumni Achievement Hall of Fame. These alumni embody what it means to be Centralians. They made the most of their time at Central State and went on to exemplary teachers, entertainers, activists, accountants, bankers, IT professionals, and community leaders, and they continue to engage with and give back to their alma mater. Let's give them another round of applause. As I look at all of the students here today, I know that their futures and the future of Central State University are bright. Our students graduate with the skills, training, and dispositions to succeed in a continually changing global economy. This future is made possible by the generations of marauders, centralians, and friends of the university who continue to support Central State University. As we continue to move this great university forward, as it so well deserves, our goal is to continue to elevate research and move to a Research 2 university. Give us a round of applause. As part of our 1890 land grant mission, we must embrace research at the highest level. I'm pleased to inform you at the April board meeting, or trustee board meetings, we will have the groundbreaking for the state-of-the-art research building and storage facility for our faculty to engage in cutting-edge research. These two facilities are being funded by NIFA and USDA. They will be located across Route 42 near the water tower. Will all of our faculty please stand to be recognized? I didn't forget you. These are the individuals who make it happen for our students at Central State University. You may be seated. As we celebrate 136 years of academic excellence at Central State University, I'm pleased to kick off the Central State University Day of Giving. Consider making your best gift on Thursday, March 30th, or any time this month to commemorate Charter Day and support student success at Central State University. This is a special opportunity for our active donors and supporters to invite others not only to share in the joy of giving, but also in the joy of investing in the bright futures at Central State University. We ask that you like, share, and forward any communication you receive from our institutional advancement team to encourage new friends and supporters of Central State University to join you in making a great contribution. Will Vice President Tiffany Gray and her staff please stand to be recognized? In support of these initiatives, we have successfully transitioned the CSU Foundation operations back home to Central State University. As you may be aware, supporting foundations like the CSU Foundation played a critical role in advancing the educational mission of universities across the country and remain a trusted partner in accelerating excellence in teaching and learning. This is an important step to create unity and alignment with institutional advancement and the Central State Foundation, embracing donor experience for our supporters. We know that this has been a long time coming, but guess what? We are here. I want to thank Dr. Derek Anderson, President of the CSU Foundation, President Emeritus John Garland, Judge Michael Nelson, Jackie Downing, Chair Mark Hatcher, and other members of the CSU Foundation. For those who are here, please stand to be recognized. We could not have done this without them. I would also like to acknowledge our alumni ambassadors, Mr. and Mrs. Richard and Betty Shepard of the class of 1971, who are helping to galvanize the support of our alumni. As you all know, and I keep bragging about you, the class of 1971 has raised the most money and has set a great model to follow. Don't be quiet, let's give them a round of applause. The Shepherds will be working with all of our alumni in conjunction with Vice President Tiffany Gray to achieve our capital campaign goal. Will Betty and Richard Shepard please stand to be recognized? Before I conclude, I would like to say a few words in memory of President Emeritus Dr. Arthur E. Thomas, the 6th president of Central State University and a graduate of the class of 1962, who passed away in February. As president and dedicated alum, Dr. Art Thomas, as I called him, he always told us to call him Art. I've known him for many years, and he served as a mentor for me as well. I went through the first graduating class of a leadership class that he co-authored, and I was in that first inaugural class. And as I think of Art Thomas and my mentor, Dr. Dolores R. Spikes, who passed away, Art was the last person in that group out of Fred Humphrey, Johnson, and others who passed away. These were great leaders of historically Black colleges and universities across the nation. Let's give them a round of applause in their memory. Dr. Thomas was truly a visionary and a change maker. He will be greatly missed, and his legacy lives on in everyone who knew him, and he loved Central State University. And he's told me many stories about this university, and I won't go into them today. In honor of President Emeritus Arthur E. Thomas's leadership of the university, we will be announcing details of 3 distinct programs. First, we will be creating an endowed chair in President Dr. Arthur E. Thomas's name, focused on leadership studies. Second, academic scholarships for aiding students to attend the university are planned. And third, an annual speaking series is being in name of Dr. Arthur E. Thomas, because he brought so many speakers, outstanding speakers, as you heard the alums say today. All 3 of these programs will honor the legacy of leadership President Emeritus Thomas gave to this great university. Finally, we will be holding a memorial service on campus in this venue next Saturday, March 18th, to show our appreciation to his family and to his many friends as we celebrate his life, entitled A Final Standing Ovation, including his dedication to Central State University. As we celebrate 136 years of academic excellence at Central State University, let's honor our past and the people who have shaped it and look towards our bright future. Consider how you can support and give back to Central State University. Finally, I want to leave you with the words of Benjamin Elijah Mays, President Emeritus of Morehouse College, who says, "It must be borne in mind that the tragedy of life doesn't lie in not reaching your goal. The tragedy lies in having no goal to reach." Thank you and happy Charter Day.
Thank you, President Thomas. We'll now have the singing of our alma mater and the retiring of colors and our recession. Audience, please remain standing until the members of the dais have recessed.
O Central dear, we sing of thee, maker of men who are free. We build in thee thy greater name. We spread thy lasting fame. O Central mine will sing of thee. Truth and right our song shall be. Our alma mater guards us and is great. For God, for Central, for State, our alma mater hail to thee. Builder of women to be, we build in thee thy hearts and mind. We spread thy grace divine. O Central mine will sing of thee. Truth and right our song shall be. Our alma mater guides us and is great. For God, for Central, for State, oh, speak to us and we will hear. Thy voice so near, so clear, and as we sail, the future sees. Through the years we'll sing of thee. O Central mine will sing of thee. Truth and right our song shall be. Our alma mater guides us and is great. For God, for Central, for State.